no worries. Again, a beauty really setting up here with a welcome this afternoon. For tonight, clear to partly cloudy, not as much patchy fog compared to what we had last night. Temperatures in the 50s, low 60s. And during the day tomorrow, it's definitely not going to be a washout. Sun and clouds by midday and afternoon. Scattered showers, thunder showers will be developing, but once again, nothing terribly widespread. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a few areas may not even get wet tomorrow. So some hit or miss type showers, thunder showers expected tomorrow. Friday, most of that will clear the region. However, if you're watching from James, that's going to start out, resulting in maybe a chance for shower roughly from early afternoon Friday if you're watching around Basin, Windsor, Oneonta, Cooperstown, touching over towards Catskills. That will exit and push further east by Friday evening. See forecast for this Wednesday for the Basin area, including Norwich, Oneonta, Cooperstown, Cherry Valley. Plenty of sun, warm and pleasant. Enjoy low to mid 80s, back upper 50s and low 60s. Elmira, according to now, we had some patchy net clouds earlier this morning. That has now burned off, so from here on out, plenty of sunshine, mid-80s, 50s to around 60s tonight. 7-day forecast, tomorrow chance for a few scattered showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder, so it's going to be a little bit more humid as well. Temperatures around 80. Friday, risk for a lingering shower for eastern sections through early afternoon, otherwise many remain dry with sun and clouds. Saturday looks good. Chance for some more unsettled weather here later Sunday. That's at the beginning of the year.
Members of the state Congress and weighing in about their new 5-year labor deal to avoid massive layoffs. This as CSEA workers approved the contract with a 60-40 vote on Monday. It calls for wage freezes and higher health care costs. Our Steve Ferris has more on this.
Anytime you're talking about one layoff, it's too many. The CSEA state workers contract approval leaving CSEA leaders shy of calling it a win. Just the best they could.
Okay, Don Kutek. And then I respond to him. Comment on my video. Fat Leggy's taking a very big B-O-O-B.
First off, the commitment we have from the governor's office in the first 2 years, there will be no layoffs, period, based on this. And then only when there's a significant financial situation, and then it has to be approved by the legislature. This is not the governor's call. CSEA President Danny Donahue admitted some layoffs are still likely, though, just not thousands. There will be some closures, and there will be probably some layoffs in that process, but not the 9,000 layoffs that the governor was talking about. The plan passed 60 to 40% by members who won't see across-the-board salary increases in 2011 or 2012. But we'll get a 2% bump in 2014 and 2015 after $1,000 in lump sum payments in 2013. Some of the older members probably had a bigger problem with the zeros. Some of the younger members probably had it with the idea of the increased health costs.
As far as health benefits, workers will see percentage increases in premiums depending on grade level, while workers will also be furloughed for 5 days this year.
We work it out at every level. The state will save enormous amounts of money over the period of time, but there's no quick fix. The only way the state would save thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars is if it laid off its workers and cut the responsibility to them.
The CSEA says the overall plan is expected to save $2.5 billion compared to the 2007 contract. A plan that may be less a celebration for state workers and more a sigh of relief for a workforce no longer on the mass chopping block. In all, Steve Ferris, YNN.
4 of the 5 largest U.S. tobacco companies are suing the federal government over the new graphic cigarette labels warning people about the dangers of smoking. The companies filed their suit yesterday against the Food and Drug Administration. They say labels violate their free speech rights by requiring them to carry a government-sponsored, emotionally charged appeal to not use their legal products. The FDA introduced the labels in June.
Inspirational breakfast hyperlink. Premier Christian Radio.
Your business now.
You're listening to Inspirational Breakfast.
Taking a look at your local business headlines.
We've been promising you a fantastic chat with the lovely guest this morning, Sally Phillips. She's one of Britain's top comedy actresses. She's been on screen most recently in the BAFTA award-winning show Miranda, and also had roles in The Green Wing, Iron and Partridge, and of course the award-winning show she created, Smack the Pony, and of course she's best known perhaps for her role as Shazza in the Bridget Jones Diary of Movies. Here's a little bit of her in action in one of those great shows.
How you doing? Oh, call me Miranda. Watch her go for it, all panic me.
Oh, just decide.
pizza. Yum. Better not. Chicken salad, please. Hi. Hi. Bridget. I'm so sorry. It's alright. Okay. This for me. I hope you like it, but I don't think you will. Okay, it's not really right, I'm afraid. I'm not at all sure it's you. But I have got the receipt, so if you want to change it, that's absolutely fine. And I won't be at all offended if you don't like it, because, I mean, I don't particularly like it. I saw it in the shop and I thought, wow, you know, then I got it home and I thought, I wouldn't give that to my cat.
Lovely Sally Phillips there in action. You heard her in Miranda, playing Shanda in Bridget Jones' Diary, and then one of her comedy sketches from Smack the Pony. Very funny. We've all been there, haven't we? The present that we don't really like and give it to someone else.
Yes, indeed. She's also a passionate Christian and a mum who juggles her work commitments around her growing family. So when the opportunity came up for Lizzie and I to chat to her about her work, her faith, and some holiday tips, we couldn't resist.
Sally, thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to have you on the show. Hi there, thank you for having me. And I hear that you've got a baby due in October, is that right?
I have. I've got 2 already, and they're both boys, and this is another boy. Apparently 70%. You're 70% likely to have the same sex again. So girls mess up your head and boys mess up your house. It's one type of mess.
Well, I can attest to that. I've got 5 brothers, so lots of boys. Well, obviously it is very busy time. It's summer, and with all your children at school. Are you on holiday?
Well, I spent 2.5 months trying to book a family holiday on the internet, and I found that the holiday we booked last year had gone up by 45%.
I'm such an idiot. Am I such an internet idiot that I can't find a decent last idea? What do you think?
There's this report coming out from the post office saying that it's not just me that's an idiot, this is everywhere. Like all the resorts, the prices have been massive hike prices, as much as 56% in some countries. But also our exchange rate is terrible, so more than ever, it's a bit of a bleak time financially for people. I'm expecting a baby, and you need to be more careful. And just got some tips on how to plan, how to budget a bit better. Just an example is like a meal for 4 in Portugal, classic family meal, 2 adults, 2 kids, bottle of wine, soft drinks. Portugal is going to cost you around £35. But in Italy, that's going to cost you £100. And it's worth just having a quick look on the post office website to have an idea of how much you can expect to spend extra. Also, they've done some really funny research on kids, how much we give into our kids per pound. I read another fact actually somewhere that 40% of families felt that their children negatively affected their holiday. 4% saying they ruined it completely.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the awful thing is that then when they get into their teenage years, they really don't want to go with mum.
Yeah, have you got teenage kids?
I'm afraid mine are past that now, but yeah.
I'm dreading that, because I so love that family
I think it's funny because I did hear this woman on holiday last year shouting at her sort of daughter or whatever, saying, if you behave like this, I'm not going to bring you on holiday next year. And I thought, oh dear, it's a bit of a threat, isn't it?
That was probably me that you heard. We can't take you. We just can't take you if you're not going to behave. Listen. I mean, what was reassuring, the first time we went on a package holiday last year, what was reassuring to me was how identical all the families were. So all of the families, the dads were really depressed because everyone had such different expectations. So I, of course, on family holiday think, oh, it's going to be wonderful family time. There'll be lots of skin-on-skin cuddles, and we're all going to play games together. There'll be no TV, you know, all of that. And my husband was like, I'm going to spend quality time with my wife. And there's no babysitting service. So, you know, everybody's I need to lower my expectations a bit. Another thing is don't whatever you do, change money at the airport. That's the thing the message I've really taken on board from this, but it's expensive. Yeah, it was much more expensive than going on the high street. So if you can just get them to talk and speak to myself here, just get organised and go there day before. Save up to save up to, I'm looking at the statistics for Liverpool Airport, Canadian dollars, on £260, you'll pay £35 approximately commission, which is nearly £16 more than the national average.
Wow, that's crazy.
And also, I think a good idea is to get the kids to budget themselves. So go with the pester power. I think just delegate responsibility. I'm all about delegating responsibility. Great holiday tips there from comedy actress, mum and Christian Sally Phillips. And you can find out more about those holiday tips the post office at the post office website. But stay tuned for our chat with Sally, where she talks candidly about her faith and how it challenges her work. Now, if you were listening earlier, you'll have heard some very astute holiday tips from comedy actress, mother and Christian Sally Phillips, star of Bridget Jones, Miranda, The Green Wing, Smack the Pony, and many, many more things. Stay tuned now to hear the second part of John and Lizzie's conversation with her. John, you're obviously a bit of a fan because you started off by asking her about her illustrious career.
You've been in Alan Partridge, Smack the Pony, Green Wing, Bridget Jones' Diary, Miranda, which I love, so many other things.
How we're quite old.
No, not at all. How on earth do you have time to fit all that in with a family as well?
Well, I've done a lot. I think I've done a lot less since I've had a family. So I've done lots more writing since I've had a family. I suppose it looks like more on the CV then, because I tend to do like one episode in Treats, which comes one episode in Treats, which is out next week, and one episode of Moving On, which is out in the autumn. So I suppose you get your CV gets longer, but it's.
Do you miss when you can't do the sort of live acting stuff?
Yeah, I do actually. Truthfully, I do. I think most mums probably struggle with guilt. My eldest child's got special needs, and I kind of thought straight away that I was probably going to have to stay at home forever, and then I went mental. And so it is actually better for everyone, better for the family. Occasionally still, talk to adults and that kind of thing.
But you've actually written a film as well.
Yes, I've written a film called Decoy Bride, which is hopefully out in the autumn, starring Kelly MacDonald and David Tennant.
And have you been able to get onto the set very much?
I was in it. We shot it last summer. We shot it last summer. It's already done. And I was in it, playing an American, because real Americans are very expensive. It's a British movie, so we're making it all for 2p, like the Blue Peter version of a movie. Just always double-sided sticky tape. Granny's old clothes.
How do you find mixing your Christian faith with the work that you do, like especially the comedy stuff? That's a tricky question to answer, maybe.
It isn't. I've obviously done a lot of thinking about it, and I think when I first became Christian, I very much felt that there were tons of things that needed to be sorted out, like, smoking, for example, and that it really wasn't God's priority. The work that I was doing wasn't really his issue, and there were people that I knew well, comedians who I'd worked knew well, who wouldn't even read an audition a script that had swear in and things like that. And I never felt that was an issue or a problem. I thought, for me, it's always been about writing the truth, and sometimes the truth, truth is dirty or dark or whatever. And I think if you try to write what you think Christians won't be shocked by, your work will be poor. And I also don't think that my job is to write for Christians. I think that, I've got a friend, probably named Martin Jones, who's a very brilliant stand-up. He won't do gigs in churches, to send the people from the church to the comedy club. Go out and mix.
And I guess it's the message behind it as well, isn't it?
Kind of, but sometimes you're not. I think if you try and control that consciously, again, your work comes back. So, for example, playing Shazza and Bridget Jones, she says, I won't say the word, but he swears every other word. Should I have turned that down? I really didn't remotely think I should have turned that down.
I thought you were hilarious in that. When I found out you were Christian, I thought it was brilliant.
But then at the end, they said, gosh, we didn't imagine Shazza like that. She had so much more love in her than we imagined. So I was thrilled with that, because I felt like, I haven't painted an enraged, angry person. Which I also think it's fine to paint an enraged, angry person, because there are enraged, angry people around. But, I feel like there was a slight, is there any difference to you being Christian or not being Christian, playing that role? I think there probably was. But it was quite funny, because our vicar at the time was very, when I first turned up in the church, he and his wife privately, I now know, said to each other, she's not going to stay, she's never going to stay. Yeah, never going to, not going to stay as long as we've been here for a month, she's going to go. And then a few years later, I did Bridget Jones, and he went to see it, and he leant over, he took his parents-in-law, and he leant over and said, what the fuck is in this? The lights go down,
the whole comedy thing, though, is something great, isn't it? Tim Vine's quite a regular on our programme, actually.
Yeah, I loved him. He's a good stand-up, isn't it?
Pediatrician Dr. Manny Surrender says the majority of adults and boys he sees in his office experience gynecomastia, which begins
I think it's
around
very
age